Hey guys, back to our Monday schedule. Sorry about last week. What was the excuse last week? I don't remember.
I think I had a dentist appointment.
Oh, Patrick, yeah. Patrick's an essential part, and Michaela are an essential part of this background, what you don't see going on. Patrick does the graphics, and he's got a few of them today. Not many on the Facebook, but and not many on the YouTube. I think it's because of this. We went from a Wednesday to a Monday, so there was fewer days in order to collect some of these things. But we got a lot to talk about today. I don't think this is going to go on too long, though, not because of this, but because we have to get out of here in about an hour. So I can't believe we almost went 2 hours last week, Patrick, Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Wow. I didn't think I could blab that much. But anyhow, I hope it's informative, the things that we do say. I mean, we're here with, I have a few props here today, but I did want to mention just the usual stuff before we get going on the YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, we had almost 17,000 subscribers on YouTube. We know that there could be 100,000 subscribers at least, because last I looked, which was a few years ago, we had like 1.5 million views. I'm sure it's well over 2 million now, Patrick. Wow. We should check that. But views don't mean a heck of a lot, because people could just accidentally come across you, right? So we're looking for more sturdy, steady people to join the Facebook forum. I mean, they can enjoy the YouTube videos free forever, but we also encourage people to go onto the online classes or take a look at them at least and see some of the comments that other people have written about the online classes. And that's at Upholstery on Broadway. So there's Broadway Upholstery School on Facebook. There's Upholstery on Broadway, where we have our online classes, and the store. Take advantage of the store. If you go on there and you see the prices and you think that they're expensive, think about how much more expensive they would be at going to one of these arts and crafts store. I can assure you that they upcharge 400% at those stores. We upcharge a normal retail upcharge. So we're not price gouging by any means at all on those. So check it out. Check the store out. So let's get right to it, unless you think we have any other business, Patrick. Oh, the settee class is up. We've been getting a lot of good responses from that.
First 6 lessons are up.
First 6, and so there's a total, 23, 24, whatever it is, Pat?
We're releasing the next one after the new year, I think middle of January, that one's coming out.
So it'll be a good winter, and as usual, we're here to answer questions, and to questions, so please feel free to jump in there, and also comments. We love our comments, and we love people on the YouTube with the comments, because that's what we read. I think that's the first thing we read every week. So let's get to that. So let's get to Patricia. She says, "I'm learning so much, thank you." And that's the 1860s chair, Patrick. We got a lot of response on that. That was a really nice, and it just dawns on me, I'll just off the top of my head, when I look at that video, I smile, because it's almost like having furniture is almost like time traveling in some way, Patrick, or being an archaeologist, and going into a dig, and we found some unusual things on our archaeological digs with the furniture. So that chair, Pat, we did a little research ourselves. We found an old potato sack in there. We dated it, and then we placed it, which is really important. And that's why Patrick has the Kansas City. He has a saloon in there, and it's kind of cute. You guys should check it out if you haven't checked it out yet. And there's a lot of information on that one. Janine says, last question and answer. She says, a great question and answer today. Learning a lot, thank you. So thank you, Janine. Janine's been one of our great supporters, and we really appreciate her. We appreciate all our supporters. Our recent Daphne has really, I wanted to thank Daphne. She sent a beautiful Christmas card, Patrick.
Oh, wow.
We appreciate that. Anything, we get, Randy's good at that too. Not bad for a guy. He's thoughtful for a guy. I wish I was as thoughtful. But Randy sends us things once in a while. He sent Jimmy
a nice calendar from
And we got a calendar from Ireland about the pubs in Ireland, which was nice. Oh, by the way, Mom sent them a Christmas card, I think.
Oh, wow.
So to thank, we don't get a chance to answer a lot of this, but it's nice when we get things. Steven says on the Upholstery Show, so we get a lot of good responses from the Upholstery Show too, Patrick, which is good. On the spring ties, I watched several UK and Farther East upholstery channels. I have seen the running square tie pattern, for lack of a better name, quite a few times. I have gotten the impression that it is a conservative use of available materials. Yeah, that's right. I think Stephen's right. But I saw that and I was really kind of, I don't think I've ever seen one. It was nice the way it was done. It was nice and orderly. Let's see, Stephen also says on the show, talking about having project to follow along with. I totally watch for fun. It's like hanging out for a visit, and I get to learn stuff. Well, that's nice, Stephen. Thank you. He's talking about the shows, and we're gonna get Jimmy back in here. I think Jimmy. I was talking about this before we started today, and I was at having a soup today at one of the local restaurants, and there was these two young men sitting behind me, and I couldn't help overhear, and the conversation went something like this: "Yeah, I got a really old guy working with me. He's 66. I'm 63." And I was listening. He says, "That guy is so stuck in the 90s, you wouldn't believe it." And I'm thinking to myself, oh, he used the word mindset. And I'm thinking to myself, am I stuck in a particular decade? And I know when Jimmy and I get together, we talk a lot about our childhood and growing up in the 60s and 70s, more the 70s. But a lot of the shows we talk about were from the 60s and they were reruns. They're rerun today. But I have a feeling that, our relevancy has, I wonder where we're at with our relevancy at this point. And I'm wondering, what do you think the average age of our YouTube person is, Patrick? This is kind of important, actually.
I've seen it everywhere, to be honest.
Really? So you've seen a young 20-something and up to, older, right?
Yeah, all over the place. It's good. That's what you want, right?
Yeah. That's called demographic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Patricia also says, the philosopher upholsterer, rare find. I'm not sure what she's talking about. It's the 1860s antique chair. Some people would call the philosophy something else, right, Patrick? Don't say it. You know what? It's fun. I find that teaching, if you could just add a little, not too much, you can overdo it on the humor, but just add a little humor, hopefully relevant to everybody. I think it eases the anxiety of teaching, so that's the excuse I'll use. But I will tell you though that the YouTube channel, the YouTube videos with Jimmy and the question and answers with Jimmy, we like to have a little fun. But on the online classes, we get down a little serious, just a little bit more serious. And once in a while, we might break character on that. One in particular show is the Michelle show, Pat. Do you remember the mouse in the sofa?
Yeah, that was a tub chair.
The tub chair.
Don't know what episode. Episode class 2, maybe?
Well, I was very surprised that to find I thought it was a real mouse. It ended up being a plastic mouse. But Patrick didn't take what happened out, which was kind of a funny reaction I had. But, we like to have fun, but more on this type of stuff than the online classes. Because we realize people are paying for the online classes. They want, if you're paying for something, I think you want a little bit better, better information, whatever. So we go to Olga. She says on the how to fix an East Lake chair, I just got one like this, not in good condition. East Lake chairs are always, when you get them, always in poor condition, I find. But the wood is fine. I will need to replace the fabric and the inside materials because it's hay. Most of the time it's hay, and you do have to replace that. I tried to find the class mentioned in the video, but was not successful. I found vintage East Lake chair recovery, however. It is not the rocking chair shown in the picture. You have to check that out, Pat. You have to check that out, right?
Sure.
Patricia says...
I don't know what she means, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't think...
So we've done so many. I can't remember all of the ones we've done. But I wonder if there's any way to catalog them better. I mean, when you go on our channel, everything comes up, right? Is it by date?
Oh yeah, it should be oldest to new, or newest to oldest.
But that doesn't necessarily help somebody looking for a specific piece. So is there any way to, index it? Do y'all?
I know there's a filter. When I look at videos, it automatically comes up from the newest video to the oldest. If you want to...
Can you search?
Well, we have playlists. So, like, if you want to only see how-tos, I have a whole playlist full of those.
Okay.
And the quick tips to know.
So, I guess what I'm trying to say...
try to make it a little more organized, yeah.
What I'm trying to say is, there's a way of narrowing down your search
Yeah, I mean, you can always just type, if you know the video, it's easy to find.
I have to say, it's kind of nice saying that you got so many videos that you have to narrow a search down. It's kind of nice, isn't it?
No.
It's not like we got 10 videos up there. How many would you say we have, Patrick? I haven't counted them. I'm putting you on the spot.
I thought it was 200, but yeah, I think last time I checked it was at 400.
Are you including the question and answers and everything?
Yeah, I think it was a lot more than we thought.
I always think the question and answers, because they show live, but the people don't reference them as much as they should. I
Well,
don't.
people want up-to-date stuff. They'll probably said, "Oh, I'll just wait for the next week."
Yeah, but they're getting a lot of stuff that's relative anytime with these, I think. So don't forget when you're looking to go back to some past question and answers to gain some information. That would be a really random search, though, unfortunately. I don't think you can categorize content, right, Patrick?
Mm.
But anyhow, Patricia says on the same 1860s. Now that was one of the A to Z's, and we just finished an A to Z, right, Patrick?
Yep, I have all that.
Are you gonna post that club chair?
Hey, Deborah, Merry Christmas. Deborah says Merry Christmas.
Hi, Deborah. Anybody else commenting, Patrick?
No, not yet.
So Patricia says you get the Nobel Prize for this.
That's the one I was telling you about.
After she's finished. Keep making these videos. They did present me. They did say I refuse the Nobel Prize.
Are you humble?
Some people do, Patrick.
Wow.
Keep making these videos. They are preserving your industry. That's a nice comment, isn't it?
Yeah.
These older real wood pieces are so much more beautiful than the new pretend wood pieces. Better to redo old pieces for the environment as well. Well, Patricia gets it. I mean, one of the main factors why I like doing what I do is I think I think upholsterers have been forever the best recyclers out there. I mean, when you think about it, if you have a sofa and you're looking at it and say, what should I do with this sofa? And if you throw it away and then buy a new one, look at how much waste that is.
Randy says there's a company that catalogs YouTube videos. A company for everything now, huh?
Really? Randy is a wealth of information. I don't know. He should get the Nobel Prize.
I think he should start his own channel.
I think he should. I would encourage anybody to do this. I mean, but
we're looking for people to collab with. We're looking for that.
Yeah. But Patrick, let's not pretend. This is not an easy thing. This takes up a lot of our time, right?
Don't pretend like Jimmy's not, Jimmy's the star.
It's Jimmy, yeah, Jimmy. I was just noticing Jimmy's stardom he's shooting, his star is rising. And
it's that haircut, I'm telling you.
Because I see him on the guy should check out on Facebook. He's squatting next to his beautiful settee that he finished. And he looks really good next to that settee.
He even said it himself. He thinks it looks like Billy Idol.
Well, who's Billy Idol?
The singer.
I know, it goes the other way too, doesn't it, Patrick? Where I can't relate to you.
He's an 80s singer, though. You should know that one, though.
Was he with Mick Jagger? Did he sing with Mick Jagger that song, Billy Idol, or was that somebody else?
I don't know. You're thinking of... Anyway, I don't even...
You know who I'm thinking
the audience can say, I don't even, no idea.
They did a video together. Mick Jagger and this real pop.
David Bowie.
David Bowie, right.
I'm pretty sure.
Guys should check that out. It's hilarious. It's just hilarious.
That's the one they parodied on Family Guy, remember?
Okay.
That's where you're thinking of it. Anyway. See, I'm not like Jimmy then. Get off track.
Oh, yeah, Jimmy. Is Jimmy here? So,
No, he's not.
Patricia comment, thank you. I like the multiple comments on YouTube. It's great because she's really excited about this. Now we're going back to part 4 on the 1860s, stuffing the seat. She says, I'm learning so much. Thank you. Janine says, another time. She says, great question and answer. That might have been another question and answer show. Stephen says, on the upholstery show, on the spring ties, oops, I'm reading this again, Patrick.
Yeah, there's only 2 pages, so you should... Oh, I put it on the other one by accident. And I skipped that one, sorry. Richard says on the upholstery show, I am a day late for the live streaming, but enjoying the question and answer. This, Richard, my question is, have you ever upholstered the inside of a canoe? No joke. I'm 45 years of business. I've never been asked that by a customer, and the customer's serious. That is an unusual, but I do have somewhat of an answer for. I got a couple of things come to the top of my head. Where I live in the Northeast, even in the town that I live in, they found a dugout canoe, and a dugout canoe is all one piece of log that it's just like it sounds. The Native Americans would dig out the log and use some type of preservative, some type of water repellent that they knew only. And what they would do is in the winters, when they used to move on, they used to sink the dugout canoes with boulders or whatever, just so that they would be there when they came back. Sometimes they didn't come back, and that's why they found one in my town, and it's hanging in our library. It was well preserved. If you ever get into Sudbury, you should check it out. It's a beautiful, well preserved canoe. But now, the other thing that comes to mind, though, is I grew up in Newton, Massachusetts, and there was a huge canoe history in a section called Norumbega. And for anybody that's older than me, Norumbega used to be the biggest amusement park, and they used to have the ballroom dancing, and the big bands from all over the world perform here. And one of the things for recreation, they had a huge canoe inventory. And people, this wasn't just, we think of canoeing, at least I do now, is going down white water and turning it over and being rough and all that. That's how I used to ride a canoe. That's the fun. Used to be on my knees with the canoe and going down the rapids. But the tradition in my hometown, I don't know why I did that, because they used to have, you can imagine the Victorians, they used to bring their hoop skirts and their umbrellas, the woman, and the men would be the ones paddling, and they would have blankets in the canoe. They would have maybe upholstery. Maybe some of those were upholstered, I'm not sure, but I know that the seats were padded. So they were all wood, they weren't, no fiberglass, nothing like that, or aluminum. So that tradition in canoeing, I think it was padded. It has a padded history. So I don't think this is an although I've never heard, nobody's ever asked me to do anything like that. But I bet it's a very old canoe. I bet it's a wooden canoe. I don't think anybody would want to, how you can upholster a aluminum canoe? But it's an interesting question. I thank you, Richard, for that contribution. Brings back some memories at least, but not Victorian memories. I'm not that old. Right, Patrick?
I hope not. You look good if you want.
Maybe I'm a time traveler. Did you ever think of that? So Olga, how to fix an Eastlake chair. I just got one chair like this, not in good condition, but the wood is fine. Did I read this, Patrick? I think I did. No. I will need to replace the fabric and the inside materials. No, I already read that, Patrick. Okay, we're done. We're done with the YouTube.
What happened that I have done?
I don't know. Maybe, wait a minute. I think I put a comment. There's a comment here. So this
Go to the Felice's submission.
the stool. Do you have that up?
Which I think I missed. That was uploaded a while ago. I don't think we ever got to that.
Sorry, Denise. Denise has been a great contributor. You guys keep it up on the Facebook. There's a lot of help. If you guys are new to the channel and you're new to upholstery and you're excited about maybe learning more, the people that are on here are so generous with their time and their research for people. You should check it out. The Facebook Broadway Upholstery School on Facebook. So what do you got up there? You got both of them up there, Patrick?
Right. Yep, now I do.
You've got the before, which is that leather-looking brown, which is on the top. You can see it's kind of dried out. And then the new one, which is that she has a braiding, a gimp, I call it a gimp. It could be a French trim around the bottom. And do you think that's an ultra suede or a fabric? But, this looks simple. This looks simple, you guys, but
It looks like some kind of velvet, maybe.
Yeah, I think it is.
She's on, she can let us know.
Is Denise, well, I'll hold the picture up. There's not one.
I have it up there.
One pleat, you guys. That's a round stool with some stuffing in it, and she's managed to stretch that out, and not one pleat. It's amazing. That's a good job. I kind of like it. She's really modernized that. We're getting that a lot with people wanting to modernize things. It's one way that you can convince people to save their furniture. They're not stuck. If they have I had a woman come in today with a Baker sofa, And the Baker sofa is a very traditional upholstered piece, and it has a big skirt, and it has these cushions with piping and everything else. But
Let me see what she said. She said, ended up putting burlap over wood to prevent foam from slipping while I stapled. Then stapled 1-inch foam, cotton batting. Trickiest part was stapling over the fabric without puckers. Flat folded the trim and gimp. Does that help?
yeah, very good, very good. It sounds like she's developing some really good skills. It's great. Now we're going to get to Daphne. Thank you, Denise. We're going to get to Daphne. Daphne, thank you for some of the in-depth comments and the postings on Facebook, which are tremendous. I really love it.
And she is on right now.
And hi, Daphne. I would thank her personally for that card. Thank you. She says, hi, Kevin. I had a question about the springs I just ordered. This will be my third chair. I've already started my second chair, which has springs. The chair is mine, and I bought it at an antique store years ago. It looks like the dealer did a freshen up, but didn't really reconstruct the chair and upholster wood like an upholsterer would, because it's never been comfortable. Also, the fabric is just glued on. It's really interesting. I think not properly stretched, and there was foam in there, but no horsehair. So that's a very amateuristic job done by an antique dealer who just wants to transition a piece out, spruce it up a little bit, transition it out, and forget about it. I took a peek under the camber and found what was called the strap springs. It's a good, I like that description. So
There's
what
a couple
this,
pictures up now of
what that is a hybrid. It's a way that, that people are always trying to come up with a better way than the juice webbing and the coil spring. So this is one of those hybrids, which is not great. They tilt, they break easier. So not a great idea. The straps are screwed into the sides. It's another problem. They have to really use a heavy screw and nail 2 or 3 of them to go into put that strap into the wood, and that's another problem. Sometimes they break the wood. The straps are screwed into sides of the front and back rails, and each strap has 3 small springs. I was thinking that I would replace them with webbing and 9 small springs, which I gave her the thumbs up on that. The ones I ordered, an 8-way tie, but will the springs be big enough? And I think I already answered her, and I said they're fine. We talked, actually, I think, and I said that they were fine. A lot of times, what you could do is, actually, smaller springs sometimes are easier to tie. The bigger the spring, the more the edges, when you try to tie the ends, the spring kind of tilts if it's really big, and it's challenging to get that spring flat up and where it should be, and crowning where it should be. So what you can do a lot of times is rely on stuffing after that. Now remember, there is an order to the stuffing. You can't put, let's say you do the Daphne, you'll do the webbing, you'll do the number 1 springs, which is a 6-inch spring, which is a 6-rung spring. Don't ask me why they just don't say 6-rung spring, but they don't. These are Old English. A lot of these terms are Old English terms, and Old English way of looking at things too, by the way. They might have had their own reasons. That's been lost. If anybody knows, you can let me know. So there's a number 1. It goes up to a number 5 spring, I believe. But usually those are reserved for big sofas, big like Chesterfield sofas, the bigger springs. And Chesterfield sofas, they have they put the tufting, the buttons in the seat, and they're a nightmare for the size of the spring and the tufting. Both really bad things to do. What you should do is maybe on something like that is just have loose cushions. But anyhow. So when I look at chairs, the size of a chair too sometimes determines the height of the spring. I mean, if this were a bigger chair, you might want to go to a number 2 or a number 3 spring. But it isn't, it's a smaller chair. So I'm sure, bless you. So I'm sure that you're going to work out the material, so it will be, somebody was asking about why not use horsehair, or there was a determination about horsehair and some other batting. Well, sometimes you're on a budget, and horsehair is very expensive, so but rubberized horsehair not so. So what you would do on this, I'm just looking at this, Daphne, I'm visualizing myself, is the webbing, the number 1 spring, 8-way tie, burlap over that, and then a layer, then you're going to have somewhat of a crown already started after that. And then rubberized horsehair, the 1-inch rubberized horsehair over that. And then you could, from there you could kind of experiment, maybe lay your fabric over it, take a look at it, walk back and take a look at it, determine. Sometimes what I do when I hear, if you have horsehair, if you're doing the chair for yourself, you can wash horsehair, and then over that rubberized horsehair, put a layer of real horsehair. And maybe before you do that, put like an oval shape or circular shape layer of horsehair, and then another whole layer of horsehair, and then look at it, maybe pin some muslin on there to see, try to get a sense of the crown that you're going for. And then the fabric, and then cotton, you could double up on cotton too if you want more, but I don't think you're going to have to. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, but I think there's a comment.
Oh, to catch you up, that said, the strap springs were actually tacked to the wood. I've already stripped the chair. My plan is webbing, springs, burlap, rubberized horsehair, and then maybe double cotton. I've also saved the foam Dacron.
Beautiful.
And the Fox says, I rescued a Louis, what's VX? I'm not good with Roman numerals. 6 style chair, but they added padded sides and a cushion. Not sure why.
I hate when they do that, because most of the times on antique furniture, and you can see Daphne's. Go back to Daphne's chair, Patrick. Patrick, do you have still Daphne's chair up there?
Yeah, I'll do a picture of the whole chair. There we go.
So a lot of times, all of your oomph, all of your stuffing, all of your crown, all your beauty comes in the seat on these chairs, and the King Louis. So when somebody, like, it would be like Daphne taking and putting a 3-inch piece of foam on her back there. It would just totally throw the whole thing out of whack, the whole scale out of whack. And fine furniture, whether it's new or old, if it's done right, it's art. It's like art. It's like, I mentioned this before. Your eye, if you go to any art museum, except for contemporary art, sorry for all you contemporary art lovers out there, sorry. But when you look at any type of an art, whether it be fine art, sculptures, what do they call those, Michaela? What's the word I'm looking for? A type of an art.
Like oil paintings? Stuff?
Well, yeah, or you have oil paintings, you have sculptures. Huh?
Portraits?
What?
Portraits?
Portraits, but I guess, well, what I'm saying is that your eye should just kind of scale left to right, right to left, up and down, even diagonally, and not be stopped by anything that's not supposed to be there or that shouldn't be there. I guess that's right. So when you look at Daphne's chair, I don't know if Patrick still has that up, but look how beautiful and open it is. Look how graceful it is. I mean, the one thing about this chair, look how big the arms are, which I think that's the only overstatement on the chair right there, probably. I mean, but the design is elegant. I mean, look at how the curves on the legs, and there's so many curves on this. Look at the back, it's almost heart-shaped, and then you got the big crown of the seat. So to change it out any other way, you're losing a sense of aesthetics, I think, when you do that. That's what I'm trying to say. So let's go. Does he still have Daphne's up? We don't need Daphne's up. Daphne has a question.
No, he's a good thing.
Okay. So, I just wanted to, it dawned on me that there's a lot of things that I use that you might not ever see me using on the videos. Some you will. But I just wanted to throw these out here to you guys. This might be really good tips, and I think most of this stuff is you can buy yourself. It's not online. You can go to any hardware store and buy it. I do think that the glue gun we have online is a good buy because it's a graded industrial grade gun. So on the guns you have to be careful. Some of them don't have the heat that they should have, for people don't get burned mainly. They don't do a good job on the glue, and you're not going to get a good adhesive with that. So make sure that if you do get a gun at a arts and crafts store, if there's 2 settings, make sure it's the high setting, and make sure you tape it like it should be taped to high, because if you go low, you're going to have a problem with your double piping and your gimp. So that's one. We used to use, in the old day, glue, Elmer's glue to put things on, and pin tack. Chalk I have over here, which is invaluable to any upholsterer. We use that to, for the outside when we're marking fabric. It doesn't stain and it doesn't come through the fabric. That's the good thing, and it usually lasts a good long time. The trick with the cotton, don't use school chalk. We do have chalk available in the online classes. That's the appropriate chalk. It's more of a powdered chalk, and you can actually cut a point in it. And the school chalk will stain, and it won't go away sometimes. So don't use school chalk. Ironing, I don't think you ever see me iron, but I do still iron. I use the iron. We used to have big steamers in the old day because fabric used to wrinkle a lot more. Today the fabrics don't wrinkle as much, but I use the iron more for skirts, which we don't do a lot. So you probably have never seen me use an iron on any of the online classes, I don't think. Cleaning furniture off, we used to use whisk brooms, and let me tell you how long it would take to clean off a black velvet sofa using one of these guys. And we used to use tape around our fingers with the sticky side out to try to get, it could take an hour to clean off a piece of furniture using these methods. But I don't know if you guys know, you can get an attachment on your pneumatic staple gun, the blower. Men, don't think that you can use this instead of a vacuum cleaner, because I found out that what I was doing in my shop, one of the shops I had, I would use this to clean up with. I'd clean the furniture and then I'd clean the floor. And I started realizing the dust doesn't disappear, it just moves over to a corner or something. And so the wife came in and said, "What's all this dust in the corner? Where did it all come from?" Well, I said, don't you know you have to use a vacuum cleaner to take it up, right? But it's great on furniture. You do have to be careful with velvet, though. You can't be too close because you can actually mark the velvet. But it's great. It comes out at about 90 pounds, just like the staples. You got to be careful not to put it near your face. But it's great for cleaning furniture off. And Spring Mist, this stuff is great. This is a wrinkle remover. Now, we don't offer this online because it's a liquid. So we decided not to offer this. But you could go into your hardware store and ask them for a wrinkle spray, a wrinkle-free spray, and sometimes it comes under the heading Spring Mist. This stuff is great after you do a job and you've got a wrinkle and you're disappointed. 90% of the times you spray it with this and use your whisk broom just to kind of even it out. Believe it or not, the wrinkles go away. Don't use it for your face, though. Doesn't work. And the next thing is, I have here, you never see me using, I don't even like to have this at the shop, but I have this tucked away in a safe area, and it should never meet upholstered furniture, but it's my touch-up kit. I have in here, so when I have a customer that has an antique chair, like Daphne's antique chairs, I really don't encourage refinishing the chair. I encourage a light touch-up, I call it. So I don't even charge for this. It's just a service built in. It just doesn't take me long at all. It actually leaves a nice, fresh, clean smell. I have, so for paint that's on a piece of furniture, antique furniture, I have a very light steel wool, and I use the stain. It's called the scratch cover from, Old English. It's great. I use that. Takes the paint off, and then I use the muslin cloth, and I go over the whole thing and take most of the dings out, but not all of them, which I think is cool. I don't want a piece of furniture looking, refinished. I don't like that. I like it looking a little antique-y. So that's what I say to people, anyhow. So there's a couple of other things in there, like fatigue wood, for lighter colored woods. I have what they call. It's called Team 7. It really does a good job on just teak wood. The Old English scratch cover usually just comes in dark colors, so keep that in mind. And that's it for that. We were going to get into this last week, but I didn't have time. This is a whole box of estimates that I didn't get. I didn't get the jobs. And, so I wanted to go over them. I think for you guys who are in the business, like Randy and a few of you other guys and ladies who are watching, I mean, you can't get every job, you know, because I find that one of the biggest obstacles is the new furniture manufacturers and the way they advertise their product too. They've got people brainwashed. I mean, like some of the other companies, the really low grade companies, they'll throw up an ad, sofa $9.99, or get it today, it'll be $8.99. But what they don't tell you, all the add-ons, by the time you're done, it's like, even for the cheapest sofa, it's going to be like $1,500–1,600. But it's kind of like a form of brainwashing with most people. So I have to really educate people, but sometimes you can't overcome that. You know, even if people have the money to spend, they just, you know, and you'd be surprised. They just don't want to be bothered. They'll still go back to the buying new. I mean, I know people who replaced their living room set 4 times, 5 times in a very short amount of time. I had a woman come in, same woman I was talking about earlier. The sofa that she has, the Baker sofa that she has, is 40 years old. She's never changed the fabric on it even, and it's a cotton fabric. So you know, furniture can last a long time. Don't be fooled. I mean, if you have a sofa that's 4 or 5 years old and it's broken, it's the springs are popping, or the frame is broken, or the arms are loose, it's not supposed to. It's supposed to last longer than that. And sometimes they even have the nerve to call them heirloom pieces, and they aren't. So, yes, old furniture is the way to go. Most of the times, though, on old furniture, you're going to find love seats, settees, and chairs. You're not going to find a lot of sofas, unless you look for mid-century sofas. You know, that would be a good. And look for brand names like Baker. If you can find a Baker sofa for a couple of $100, buy it and then reupholster it. But anyhow, let's review some of these. So, customer comes in July. She has a sofa with 2 cylindrical pillows, which are kind of hard to do, but gave a really good price on this, $1,650, which we're getting more now. Even in that short amount of time, the prices have gone up. I think so. Then she got an estimate for 2 new cushions. She needed new cushioning. So one estimate was for foam and Dacron at $340, and Randy, just to let you know, look at how that's gone up considerably now. The same cushion would be close to over $400, the same 2 cushions now. Spring and down cushions, we were saying $4 or $5 each. Those have also gone up. But I think that add-on, and plus the amount of fabric was 16 yards, I think that the customer was scared away there. So that we don't have. Here's another one in July with 6 dining room chairs, $150 each. Those are probably dining room chairs that needed some restoration. They could have been box seats, but there was a little bit more work. I think people, like, again, you know, they get surprised sometimes with the pricing. So here's another sofa that I estimated back in July. It was a sofa for 18 yards, $1,900. She also had a love seat, $1,700. So the total labor was $2,600, and a total of 33 yards of fabric. I can tell you that for even a middle grade furniture, that's about half of the cost of what she would buy for a middle grade new furniture. But again, I think I think people are set with pricing, and and I hate to say it, but I think one thing I don't like people to do is put things on credit on their credit card, and the new furniture manufacturers are as good as the car dealerships at extending credit. And by the time you're done on new furniture, you're paying a lot. You're paying double at least over the years. So I don't know. We wouldn't do that. I wouldn't offer payment plans and upcharge. That's just not the way to do business. Now it dawns on me, Patrick, that we probably could get more of these if we offered deals like that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do that. 9 slip seats, $90 each. Not a bad price, but no customer. So you wonder. So sometimes what I do when I have a failing, somebody comes in, I just have I tag some of these. I keep them active for a little while. I tag it with an estimate EST. That tells me that this doesn't look too hopeful. So I know enough to maybe get it out of my active file, so I don't have a big pile of my active file. Does that make sense, you guys? So that would go in a separate pile.
Then we catch up here. Randy says, as a wood cleaning solution, I use 50/50 paraffin oil,
Oh, yeah.
a woodworking store, and naphtha, I think that's what he said, with 000 steel wool. Randy has all these cool formulas that he uses.
Well, the formula we used to use, Randy, was 3 parts paraffin, 1 part turpentine. And paraffin's a floor oil, by the way. And you would be surprised on the old wood. You know, forget about the finished wood. You can't use anything on that. The old wood that really, it screams to have something to absorb, that would be perfect. That was an old formula too, yeah. Roberta says, well, this estimate for Roberta back in July, well, we had a lot of July estimates that didn't come into anything, Patrick. A bucket chair, $925. 4 upholstered seats with nails, $275. Without nails, $175. And then a box bench seat, $325. So I didn't put an estimate in there. So that actually looked a little hopeful, but you know, some people do shop. I don't blame them. They might have got an estimate from another upholsterer that was less, and they went to them. So then now I know on this one here, I got up top, estimate only, meaning I don't think I'm going to get this job. I mean, so this was for a sofa, $2,100, 18 yards of fabric. You know, usually you could tell when you give somebody an estimate, or they'll say something like, wow, that's much more than what I thought, but you know, you just can't stop writing the estimate. You say, well, they'll take the estimate as a reference anyhow. You want to be polite, you know. But at least I knew, you know, when I'm looking at these, I'm marking them as I go along. The next one's marked 2 back in July. That's an estimate. I got estimate up at the top. 2 love seats. This is a funny one because I don't even have a labor cost on these ones, on this one. This must have been something like when I was talking to her about what it would cost. She was sending these real signals that she wasn't going to do the. It had to have been that she wasn't going to do the job, because I don't even have the prices written. That's funny. Another estimate only. Now, you know, what's not funny, you guys, is that, you know, these are obviously walk-ins. You know, I have a shop, people walk in, they want an estimate. Now, each one of these represents, this whole hundreds of estimates, represents at least 15 minutes. And sometimes it can go like to 45 minutes of your time, you know. That is why this is a lifesaver when it comes to estimating. I mean, you can imagine I weed out a lot with the texting with the people who, you know, people want to come in. They'll insist, I want to come in with my chair. What time are you going to be there till? Oh, wait a minute. Why don't we give you an idea of how much it's going to cost? And I have found usually it's those people that aren't going to do it. So they would come down. They would hassle themselves by loading the furniture into a car and come down and then not do the job. So another estimate without prices. That's funny. Something in here. That is funny. And then another estimate, a chair, $625, no skirt, base welt, keep all welts, estimate. So you get an idea that you're not going to get the job. Stephen, side chair, no changes, $725. Carolyn Mason, this was just for cushions. So we had 3 cushions, labor $125 each. That's not a lot. And then, so that doesn't seem like a lot, but I have estimate written up there, so you know, it might have been an indication that we weren't going to get that. And so some of the jobs that don't have the estimate, which I really was encouraged, would stay in an active file in my folder. And so this was an 8 dining room. So I think these are good tips for you guys. I mean, you don't want to be carrying all this in an active folder. At some point, you know, the estimates get put away. But then I look at a job and I say, you know, I wonder why she didn't do it, because I don't have the note saying, you know, estimate only. So sometimes I'll call people and I'll make notes on the slip. I left a text message June. This was written in May 30th, and so I sent a text to her, a follow-up text. Are you going to do the job? How can I help you further? On 6/7, it didn't answer anything back, which kind of stinks on their end. I wish they were a little bit more, courteous, because it would have saved me from texting them again on 6/16 and not hearing back from them. So I finally, eventually, after 3 weeks, that goes into the gone. Here's another one that's interesting. This was a good job. It was a $1,400 lounge chair, $1,100 chair, $375 ottoman, and then I have written up. I called on this was written up on May 2nd. I texted on 6/8, June 8th, and then I called again on 6/16 and left a message. Would you like to come into the shop? Nothing. And I think sometimes even Michaela is following up on some of these. So, I don't like, honestly, this is just time wasted, you guys. So I don't know if there's any way to avoid this. If anybody's got some ideas, that's good, because, at the same time, every one of these reflects, a potential bad review. I mean, if we're impolite, right? Or if we're over-aggressive. Like, you have to be careful not to be over-aggressive. You've got their information. Some people don't like getting text messages, but then they don't communicate. You don't know where they are. I think the limit is 2, right, Patrick? I wouldn't do any more than 2 in jobs that I know. So that's gone. And then we got a sofa here, $1,800, 2 chairs, $1,150. And it's funny too, when I take an address, that's also good. Oftentimes I'm not taking addresses, I'm just taking the name and the phone number. And it's usually, hopefully, a cell phone, because you want to be able to text, because that's kind of a lower impact, non-aggressive way to follow up. And in this case, we followed up twice again, and nothing back. So not even I would call somebody and say, listen, really appreciate your time, but we're not going to be doing this, but thanks for following up. But a lot of times people don't do that. And we got another estimate. I'm going to save some. I could go on forever here, you guys. Are there any comments or questions, Patrick?
Randy says, I don't take credit cards at all.
We started taking credit cards. I have to say,
It used to be like that. You never wanted
Yeah, Randy, I have to say, it took me a while to get used to it. These guys probably were very frustrated with me, but I have to say, some people are not carrying checkbooks anymore. Some of them don't have checks at all. So you almost have to, you almost are forced to do, at least we were.
Well, especially with those walk-ins, that's where you have to, if you had a schedule planned, someone
Yeah,
coming to pay, they'd tie to fill out a check.
That's a good point, Patrick.
Nobody carries checks just for impulse buy. Or,
Right, Randy, you got to listen to this, because I wonder how many of these jobs we lost because we didn't have a point of sale. We didn't have the credit card capabilities, Patrick.
But Randy's in a different situation. He probably could. He has something going on. He schedules the person to come in and pay, and they have their check or whatever.
Well, that's what we used to do.
Yeah.
So we do get a lot more walk-in traffic than I realized. But anyhow, we'll save these for another time. I hope that we want to hear back from people if they're interested. I think for you do-it-yourselfers that are watching me, I'm not sure how much of an interest that is for you, and I apologize if it isn't. But for people who are starting out, or even doing work for friends, and the friends pay, hopefully, or they're hobbyists and they want to make a little extra money, I think it would be helpful. But let us know what you think about this segment. We didn't do our segment where we have current sales because that is slow during Christmas now. I think that most people are not focused on new cushions. They're focused on getting their meats and turkeys and things like that, but it'll pick up in the beginning of the year again.
Well, yes, Deborah, what is your question? She has a question I was going to ask.
Sure.
We'll wait for that.
Go ahead, Pat.
Oh, she said I have a question, so I'll wait to see what she says. Randy follows up. Most people just don't want to talk to you when they're going to say no to you.
Yeah.
That's true.
Waiting for Deborah's question, and then we're gonna, I think, wrap this up. So if you have any questions or comments.
Well, we're waiting, so what do we have, so what's going on with the school? We talk about that. First
Which
6 classes are up.
Well, I want to talk about.
If anybody, well, I know Daphne already asked. Oh, you didn't get to her question, Michaela told me.
What
Did
question?
you talk about the lesson 7 question she had?
Oh, yeah. Daphne had a question. She said it was from question, it was.
I have it printed out, though.
I didn't see it.
No.
I remember it, though.
I can read it if you want.
Yeah, go
Do
ahead.
you know what it is?
Go read it.
I have to find it, get the email.
I know what it was.
Yeah, you know.
It was question 6, there was a difference between question 6, class 6 and 7, where we were going to do a decking material, and we went to a self-decking, and I remember that. The reason is it was a down cushion, and Jimmy had extra fabric, so we decided, down cushions usually they shift so much when you sit on them, you could see underneath the cushion, so we decided that it would be better to see the fabric rather than a beige deck fabric, so we decided to change it. Say, we can do that. We're the artistas, they say, right, Daphne?
It's okay, so Deborah says, I'm the only upholstery shop, and people don't get, I work alone. They want their stuff yesterday. How do you handle that?
It's a big problem, because most of your clients don't understand labor and how long things take, and also, you might wake up one morning and not feel great, and that delays you, but that's a problem. I try to identify the people who are in a hurry. I'm going to refer her. This is Deborah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Patrick, what was the video that we did on YouTube about how to run an upholstery shop?
The price, no, not pricing, it was a separate one. You'll see the video has a picture of the shop on it.
Yeah,
Easy to find.
Deborah, it's invaluable information. I suggest that you go to that, because I have categories of how things transition through an upholstery shop, and there's many different categories. Not many, but what it does is it gives you a visual on the flow of your shop, and the physical take and post-its. It's done with post-its. You got to check it out, because it's invaluable, and you can add things to the post-its like customer not in a hurry, customer in a hurry, so you could focus, but this is one of the hardest things on running an upholstery shop. This is one of the most things that can get you stuck, get you a bad review. You didn't get it done on time, and it was a big family event or whatever, or you rushed and something happened. So check that out. I think that's the best thing I can tell you. So I think that's it, Patrick.
Yeah, that's good. And,
so next week.
what do you say? Everybody have an awesome Christmas.
Oh yeah, and a holiday. The Jewish holidays and whatever you celebrate Christmas. I want you guys to have a safe time and a fun time, and going into the new year. We hope for a great new year.
We'll see everybody next week, though. We'll be on before the new year.
We will be on next week, Patrick?
Yes.
Next Monday?
It's the 29th, I think.
Next Monday, we'll be
28th.
on, and want to hear about your experiences with family over the Christmas holidays. That would be great. So I think that's going to wrap it up, Patrick.
Good, thanks, everyone. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. We'll see you next time.